Alright. Alright. So, I can't seem to find a way to get out of Blender anymore. Wasn't posting very frequently this week, just because I kill all the time throughout the day exploring this thing. And I'm not talking about this project, just Blender. Having very few to show for it even, I just created a bunch of presets and the nodes and everything. I also did some work on the project of Black Widow. Like, for instance, I changed the pose of the Black Widow. Now she's holding the basin. I googled this word. This is what I was talking about when I was calling this a bowl. So now we can actually see the contents of the basin. The pose of the arm is a bit different, so we would have a clearer view of the hand with the piece of meat right here. Now the kids around the meat are looking at us. This kid has a bit of a different sitting posture, and there's been a lot of changes done to the way the rendering is addressed. So as you can see now, in actual Eevee view, we have a pretty good case of the scene lighting. Before that, it was very overexposed. I took care of that only because I found that Eevee renderer, like this real-time renderer where we can actually look around. You see it's pretty laggy right now, but it's mostly because we have like 20 plus light sources in the scene. But this is nothing comparing to what I would have to deal with if I would be setting up stuff in cycles. And of course, if we would make the screen smaller, it would be pretty much real time. And the main awesomeness of Eevee in this case specifically is the previewing of volumes, volumetric effects. These are incredibly hard to render in cycles. Like, you get noise even after like a half an hour of rendering one frame. And here we have just like 2 frames per second, and it gets a pretty decent result pretty much right away. And most importantly, it's almost like 99% identical to what you will see in cycles. So this was really helpful to set up a really good atmospheric effect. It actually has a pretty complex node system applied to it that I'm now using as a preset. It's like a special node group that I can import into any project and use it right away. This folder, this is like, it has a lot of nodes inside. So for instance, in this scene, you can see we have, aside from a huge amount of ellipses, we have this big box. And inside of this big box, there's actually a shape like that. It's not an actual box in the end. When it's a fog, it's a very smooth gradient going upwards. And if we look from the top, it's a circle that also has fading edges. And on top of that, we have 2 different types of noises combined to have this interesting pattern applied. And all of that is easily modified using these external sliders of the group. And yeah, we can create pretty cool turbulences and stuff like that. So this is the kind of stuff I've been killing myself with for the last week. And yeah, this was one kind of the preset. Another one I developed for these fog plates. Now they're actual full fog spheres or ellipses that you can bend in any direction, and they will always have a smooth edge at any angle. Like, you will never see a hard edge of a volumetric shape. It always smooths out. It has a radial gradient applied to it that adjusts to the proportions of the geometry that it's applied to. So this is really cool and will be really helpful to use in the future, but boy did I waste a lot of time. I know I even sounded kind of like a lunatic right now when I was explaining this, because like, what the hell am I doing? It's just so interesting to me, I can't help it. So anyway, the point of this video is that I can't get out of Blender right now. This is why I wasn't making a lot of videos lately, because I know that the next episode about Black Widow is supposed to be us actually painting over the 3D render that we've got. But I'm just so occupied with the whole 3D thing. I just want to discover Blender more and more, and that's all I care about. So the only way for me to say hello to you again is by making another Blender episode. But we're not gonna be working in this project right now. Black Widow is in a pretty good shape as is, and most of you said in the comments that I obviously got carried away. Little did we know how much. But in any case, the point is we have everything we need defined, and the last thing that I added is pretty much every single, probably every kid that needs to have this atmospheric highlight behind their black heads now has one. So pretty much everywhere you can see that going on. Probably will look more obvious in the actual rendering. So you can see all of their heads, they don't blend into the dark background, they have a highlight, and it looks really cool when they cascade like that one after another into the perspective and having different layers of fog highlighting every one of them. Looking really cool. I really like the result. But today let's do something else. And the most interesting thing I can think of, if we talk about generally just using Blender, is gonna be sculpting. So let's sculpt in Blender today. So as you can see, I have a different tablet on my table. It's been laying around in the latest few episodes. This is actually an older Nadia's tablet. This is Wacom Intuos 4. I switched to it from XP Pen Deco 01 that I used to be using for a while, because after a while I noticed it does have some wobbles. I think that was one product that I reviewed before I learned to make a ruler test. Anyway, I had this one laying around and I decided to switch to it. In any case, Wacom has perfect support in whatever program you will ever use. And so, I don't know if you can see right now, let me show you like this. It has displays. Every button is signed with a glowing text or an image describing what the button does. Intuos 5 doesn't have that. I used to be working on Intuos 5 when I was working in the office. So yeah, I'm gonna be using this tablet and we're gonna try and sculpt something. Let me delete all of my amazing experiments right here. You know what? Let's actually use the dummy that we have as a base for something. Some kind of character is gonna be. I literally have no plan. The only plan I have is that I'm not getting out of Blender. So we'll keep the floor, the fog, we'll turn it on whenever we need it. I got all kinds of fogs covered now. Camera, let it be, floor, and one lamp lighting up the scene over there. So yeah, this is gonna be like improv kind of character, probably some kind of monster or something, in some kind of dynamic pose. And mostly we're just gonna be looking at what Blender has for sculpting. At first we'll probably pose this guy. I know there is a way to kind of make your workflow like you sculpt, and then you press a button and it goes back to the action pose, and then you can go back and sculpt again, and then back to action pose. But for that you probably need bones and stuff, so I wasn't getting into actual character rigging yet or something like that. So we're just gonna position a guy and just sculpt without any shenanigans. So right now I have this idea. You always have to have an idea when you start, like I can't start. I remember there was one ZBrush sculpt that I've seen like maybe at least 7 years ago, if I'm not wrong. Some kind of cool artist created a piece that was just literally like a bronze looking sculpt. It wasn't even textured or anything. It was a person that was standing in a very dynamic, very screaming pose, and they were like ripping their chest apart, like literally splitting the skin and opening, and there were like all the ribs and the lungs inside, and he was like screaming like this. It was such a cool and impressive sculpture, just really cool dynamics to it and everything. Like it was somewhat dark, somewhat just awesome. I'm thinking let's just do a little tribute to that, even though I don't even remember who that was. I never knew who that was, probably. Right now I'm just gonna quickly pose the character as much as I feel like I need to pose it, and then we'll convert this to get it ready for sculpting. Alright, so I guess something like this will do. Now let's see. I should probably merge this before we blend all these separate objects together. Or maybe not. It may be actually faster to just quickly smooth it out in sculpting. So let's see. We select it all. Alright, seems like remeshing will probably do what we need, although it really depends on how it goes inside. Nope, doesn't look good. It seems like it keeps all the intersecting areas intact. What the hell is that? Skin, you messed up. Okay. Oh wow, this is what metaball means. Awesome. So this is just, I created one metaball. You can create a ball, a capsule, or a different kind of shapes. So just one ball, and you can't edit it or anything, but if you copy it, it just merges together, and maybe there are settings on how exactly it does stuff. Oh no, what did I do already? Resolution and a threshold. Well, this is looking really cool, and I'm gonna try to use it now to replace this model with one solid shape, because right now all these guys are still separate objects with no connection, even though they're inside of one object. I'm the dirt man. Really looks like a scene from a Marvel movie or something. There are probably better ways to combine objects into one solid mesh, but this is the only thing I could think of at the moment. And probably not the worst one. So let's see, we need to convert this into an actual mesh now. There we go, that did it. Save. So yeah, now we finally have this. This is a solid mesh, nothing is intersecting inside. A solid, good volume. It doesn't matter what kind of topology it has, like this grid is really weird, but it doesn't matter. In fact, let's apply a little softening, something like smooth. Well, that's like the opposite of smooth. Let's use normal smooth. There we go, this does it. Nice, a much more even spread of vertices all over the mesh. That's good. And so we finally go to the sculpt mode. And now we have a bunch of brushes on the side. Also, I think like space, yeah, space summons the same list. And we can see it like this or like this. Let's keep it minimalistic. Now, the most fun part that I want to show you guys right away is something that ZBrush just added late this year. And I think it's been in Blender like forever before that, is the ability to use DynTopo, dynamic topology feature. So if we apply it and use smooth shading on it, it's like the same thing Sculptress did with its technology, and later what ZBrush was doing with that same name. It's like creating polygons for you wherever you go, like wherever you need extra details. It's gonna just rebuild the mesh exactly where you paint. Let's actually open the drawer. I can see there is symmetry turned on. Yeah, like it will be creating extra polygons wherever you paint, even like with a drawing brush. With few exceptions, like for instance the grab brush, which is like a move tool pretty much for vertices. It's supposed to be just moving vertices, so that's exactly what it's doing without adding extra new ones. And if you want to create new ones, you use the snake hook. That's where you create new details with new topology. Also, using rake with it is really cool. It's like rotating with its face like a snake. So this is gonna be a lot of fun. Haven't really tried to use sculpting for anything serious or even like anything at all. Literally was just tweaking around and checking out the features. So now I'm gonna go ahead and sculpt into the basic shape. We need a screaming person. We'll probably add some kind of pants and some kind of shirt flapping around, wide open, and inside of it there will be the whole chest lung action going on. So let's do this. Let's start with just basic anatomy or whatever, the roughest anatomy details we can think of. Okay, maybe Dynamesh snake hook is not the best way to create fingers. Alright, so yeah, this kind of thing is gonna be going on, but with a lot more cool details and a lot better definition of whatever this is. The dude looks really weird right now, like I'm in a kindergarten or something, but yeah, hopefully it's gonna get better. At first it was a bit tough to get the grip of everything. Like, the tools are all great in here and everything, is just that the only portion of my brain that remembers how to sculpt in 3D still remembers the keyboard shortcuts from ZBrush, and it took me a little while to adjust. But generally the sculpting process is really close to that, and even better due to the dynamic topology. But yeah, overall, like, took my time a little bit here and there, bringing things closer to a human shape. Like, some areas are worked around a bit better than the other ones. This is all wrong yet. It's not like I know the anatomy super well, but I know it definitely better than this. It's more about figuring out how to approach it in a sculpting mode. So yeah, now let's do the second half of this thing. I'm using the masking like this, and on that side as well. So something like this. It shouldn't be perfectly symmetrical. And then Control I to invert the mask, and we go to the snake hook brush, increase the size by a ton, and move that thing outwards. Thanks to dynamic topology, that's all we have to do. And this should be probably more straight, because there should be actual tension going on. Also, it should be probably like squeezed a lot, like stretching like this. So yeah, that's the process for now. It's a shame that intersecting surfaces are not merging together with this dynamic topology thing. Like, on one hand it's good because it's really useful to have the skin separate from the hand, so it would be easier for me to sculpt it in, but a lot of the times it's good to have the option to merge the surfaces. Also, it's kind of cool, you may have noticed during the process I made the torso a bit shorter because it was kind of too long when I bent my dummy. Apparently it made the back too long. So it's cool that at any moment I can just press tab and enter the normal like polygons editing mode, select anything, and literally just edit stuff the way I would always do outside of sculpting, except I didn't select the back-facing polygons, but you get the point. And after you move, if the polygons are stretched, just tap on it with any brush and it will reconstruct a perfectly evenly spread topology all over the place. Really cool. So yeah, let's continue adding details and improving the proportions and everything. I don't know, I'll just keep doing it till I get tired and then we'll stop. Alright, so this is mostly it for today, I think. Just because I have to go to bed very soon. I was planning to get tired a lot earlier than this. But yeah, before we finish the episode, let's actually do a couple of things on the legs. First of all, let's make sure that the dude is actually standing on the floor. So we need to bend his feet properly. Toes, really. And then we'll extrude pants out of his legs. So the feet are a quick fix, I would say. Oh boy. A lot of leg details are still not there, so it's not that easy to add a foot on top of this stick. But I guess it doesn't really matter since there will be pants. Oh crap, what happened? Are you okay? Apparently when I was rotating the foot, I forgot that I had the selection on the face left from the previous time, and I moved the face with the foot. Probably. Well, this looks painful. Are you okay? Let's see what we can do about that. Not much. Oh my god. Beautiful. Let's fix you up a little bit. You'll be just like before in no time. I mean, like, not like he was quite a looker before. Good enough. Oh god. Alright, bearable enough. Now let's do the pants, and this will be it. So, I don't know, I should probably select the polygons of the legs. Alright, duplicate and separate. Where was it? There it is. Alright, that was a lot simpler than I expected it to be. At least in my eye, it was a lot more of a pain to just copy a portion of a mesh. Now I remember it's called solidify. Yeah, there we go. Thickness, 0.5 centimeter. There we go. Now back to sculpting mode. And so we smooth out this edge to begin with. Smooth out the butt crack, you know, turning it into pants. At least the basic shape to start with. So yeah, we can extrude one more time to add a belt and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have a lot of fun with this model in the future. Let's maybe make this a series. What do you guys think? Is this fun to watch? Do you have any comments? Like, please don't comment on anatomy though, because that's like, I haven't even started on anatomy here. But generally the workflow and stuff like that. And yeah, just a reminder, this whole thing, Blender 2.8, it's free. You can download it right now and start using the same way. And everything is included and you will have all the tools you need. Just go ahead and do that right now. What are you doing not using Blender? Look at me. This is the happy guy who's using Blender 7 days in a row without any rest. My eyeballs are a nightmare every day. Well, that's epic. Let's add some light. Boom, baby. Some epic motherfucker. And in cycles. Well, now you look small because of the depth of field of the camera. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Alright, so I guess this is it. Here's the original dummy that we used. Going like, I'm out of here. This is messed up. So yeah, as you can see, I made the torso shorter and the neck a little bit shorter as well. So I messed up the neck twice. So yeah, this was me wasting time in Blender and checking out the sculpting tools. By the way, 2.8 alpha haven't crashed once while we were doing this today. That's cool. We'll get back to the Black Widow hopefully in the next video as soon as possible. But yeah, for now this is it, and I thank you for watching if you did. I guess you did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe, tell a friend. Don't do that. Do whatever you want except that. And I will see you in the next one. Bye! Now let's add all the fog. Oh yeah.